living facilities from being relegated into these hospitals, which often don't have the resources or ability to meet the needs of every individualized patient, especially if you're overflowing them with individuals who also probably don't have health insurance. So even if you get them diagnoses, it doesn't help them moving forward if they don't have a doctor they can regularly meet with, or a safe place to live at the end of the day. It's really just a program that's being put in place to help people not have to see homelessness so that they feel less uncomfortable. Yeah, and it's really disgusting. And I'm glad you're raising the alarm on this because it's so concerning.
Yeah, it is. And something we're gonna have to continue to watch, including how police are gonna round people up and put them, I guess, on a psychiatric hold is what they really could do, and they're not able to escape that. Let's move on, because let's give some people some good news to end the week on quads. Look at this T-shirt, says it all, gives it away, because these quadruplets, Nigel, Zachary, Nick, and Aaron Wade, they've all now graduated from Yale University. Look at these brothers, okay? They're gonna do a lot of good in the world. They're gonna start their professional careers. They've already embarked on them. Back in 2017, the now 23-year-old quadruplets were all accepted into 59 top universities, including Ivy Leagues like Harvard, Stanford, Yale. They chose Yale because they got a generous financial aid package offered to them. Just a lovely shot of them. Atlanta Black Star gave us that. Well, at Yale, the boys who were born 4 minutes apart were dubbed the Quad Squad. This is a movie. Here's what they're up to now. For me, I majored in molecular, cellular, and developmental biology, said Nigel Wade, who resides in New Haven, Connecticut, working as a researcher of Parkinson's disease at Yale. He plans to continue his education by attending medical school. I majored in chemical engineering and economics, said Zachary Wade, who now works as an investment banker for Goldman Sachs in San Francisco. Currently, I'm an investment analyst at the Mellon Foundation, said Nick Wade, who graduated with a degree in political science and is currently living in Brooklyn. My job title is creative technologist, said Aaron Wade, who graduated with degrees in computer science and psychology and now works for Google in New York. The boys explained that education was paramount in their family, you think? They grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, to a mother, Kim Wade, who worked as a school principal, and father, Darren Wade, who was a software engineer. The Wade brothers say they understood the impact their story has made on communities across the country, especially within the Black community. They say they hope their story can help inspire others to work hard and succeed. And they stress the importance of having a strong support group to help achieve your goals. And it's that last part for me, Ray, a support group. They had each other from the womb till now. I think it's just tremendous that they all went to the same university and had each other to push and help and comfort.
And to get accepted into 59 of the top schools, including Ivy Leagues, is just such an accomplishment. They should be so proud of themselves, of each other.
Yeah.
I know their family's proud of them. It's just really, it just makes you feel good. And it's great to wrap up, a heavier, news day with such a good story.
Yeah, it is. We wish the brothers the best, and I mean it. This should be a Hollywood movie. I'm tired of seeing Black trauma. Do the Wade brothers, okay? Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, so until Twitter crashes and burns, you can follow me on Twitter at RayvanaTTV. You can also see my show Reactions every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern time here on TYT's Twitch channel. And you can see my videos for Rebel HQ on YouTube and on Facebook. Thanks so much for having me on. It was such good fun today.
Yeah, we love you. I love the commentary. I'm Sharon Reed in for the esteemed Dr. Rashad Ritchie, who earned a little bit of time off. He's always going. We love you, Doc. We appreciate you. This is Indisputable. Have yourself a great weekend.
Universal health care, raising the minimum wage. If you want clean water, clean air, clean food, keep going. If you are a doer of the deed, I want you to stand up to your feet right now. We have courage enough, conviction enough, people power enough to stand up and do what is right for ourselves. I am unbought and unbossed. Absolutely. So,
welcome to Unbossed. We are so glad you are here. So absolutely happy. And you know who else is here with me today? Jordan Ewell. Jordan, it's so good to have you on the show. We really appreciate that. And you are a Rebel HQ contributor. What's happening over there at the HQ?
Oh, there's lots of exciting things happening over on Rebel HQ. We've got a great team over there with videos every day breaking down hot button issues with a progressive lens. I love being there, and people should check it out over on YouTube. But thank you so much, Senator Turner, for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure. And please, yes, check out Jordan and the rest of the team over on Rebel HQ. Do that. You will not be disappointed. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about, the railroad workers and how they were betrayed and failed. Herschel Walker continues to be a right-wing puppet, unfortunately, and the royal family gets humanized at a basketball game. So let's get into the betrayal of the rail workers. Watch this.
And look, I know this bill doesn't have paid sick leave that these rail workers and frankly every worker in America deserves, but that fight isn't over. I didn't commit we were going to stop just because we couldn't get it in this bill that we were going to stop fighting for it. I've supported paid sick leave for a long time.
Has me shaking my head. The president of the United States, who did and still does have within his power to make the barons, if you will, the oligarchs of the railroad industry do the right thing by the rail workers, is at a press conference saying, oops, I couldn't do it, but hold on, it's not over. Maybe it's not over, but for these workers who are suffering and continue to suffer, it is a big betrayal and a big slap in the face. And this is going to have repercussions and consequences, not just for rail workers, but for all workers in this country. And then President Biden had the audacity to comment on gas prices and the economy. Take a look at this.
How soon should rail workers expect sick days?
Oil and refill the strategic reserves, Mr. President?
As soon as I can convince our Republicans to see the light.
As soon as he can convince the Republicans some of you may be old enough to remember that when President Biden, or then Mr. Biden, was running for president, one of the things that he said he would be able to do better than any other candidate, and especially as he dug into Senator Bernard Sanders, he said he would be able to get the Republicans to basically bend to his will, that he had that kind of experience and that he could get them to cooperate. Where heretofore, that has not been the case. And the best time to show whether or not he could do that was on behalf of the rail workers. And it was indeed an epic fail, especially when we get to the United States Senate. So let's take a look at this headline: Senators help donors derail paid sick days. The rejected proposal to provide rail workers sick leave would have cost the rail barons just 4 days worth of their recent profits, according to financial reports. And this reporting is coming from The Lever. The US Senate voted on Thursday to deny 125,000 rail workers a handful of sick days that would have cost the equivalent of just 4 days of recent profits made by senators' railroad industry donors. Again, the owner donors are in absolute control, and we cannot be delusional about what is happening in this country. This right here is the ultimate. Let's take a look at this. The cost of paid sick days for this year, roughly $321 million, would be less than half the amount that a single railroad tycoon, Warren Buffett, funneled to his family foundation just last week. Let's take a look at this headline as a reminder: 1 day of Warren Buffett wealth gains could fund 15 days of paid sick leave for rail workers. Buffett's railroad firm, BNSF, scored a huge win when 43 senators blocked paid sick leave for exhausted railroad workers and passed legislation preventing workers from striking. The Senate vote followed the Biden White House effectively pouring cold water on the efforts to tie paid sick leave to the bill, shutting down the rail strike, declaring in a press briefing that the president, quote, does not support any bill or amendment that will delay a bill that's getting to his desk by Saturday, end quote. Underline it, underscore it, bold it, exclamation point, put it in a message, in a bottle, on a train. So it is contradictory to what you just heard the president of the United States saying. The Senate did exactly what this president wanted them to do. Jordan, I'm not confused, but there may be a few other folks still out there confused.
Yeah, paid sick time for all workers was something that Biden ran on in 2020. That's a generally like liberal worldview and plank of liberal platforms. But when it comes time to actually pass it or push for it in Congress or through executive authority, suddenly it's just not essential. And I want to point out, paid sick time for rail workers is something that Biden could do through an executive order. There's nothing stopping him. If he really cared about this, he could do it right now, but he's not. So you have to think about why they're doing this and why they're not doing it. And that's what The Lever is reporting, which has been fantastic over the past couple months, shows that they're just working on behalf of their corporate donors. And in this case, rail companies and their CEOs and shareholders, because these people know it might cut a little bit into these record profits that rail companies have been seeing over the past couple of years. But on the issue of sick time, which is a modest request for people who work grueling jobs, why, if they are so essential to our economy, why is that not something that's already baked into their contract? And it speaks to people's general disregard for workers at large. They are cogs in this capitalist machine. They are useless, they are disposable, they are replaceable. And over the past couple months, in defense of these record profits, CEOs of these rail companies have explicitly said that these profits there are no contributions from labor, from the people who are making these trains run, loading them and unloading them, making all of this happen as part of our critical supply chain, that there are no contributions from labor that speak to these record profits, which, as you know, as the viewers know, as everyone with a brain knows, that is not true, because that's where value and wealth is accumulated and amassed. It's through people's work, and the capitalist class likes to take surplus value from our labor for themselves. So it's really ridiculous that we're in this moment where even, which was on the table, as Matthew Cunningham Cook, who wrote some of these pieces for The Lever, has pointed out, 4 sick days was on the table. 7 is good. It should be much more than that for how essential these jobs are. But 4 sick days was on the table, and instead they got nothing. And again, I can't stress enough, Biden could do this right now with the stroke of a pen. He's just not doing it.
And Jordan, I mean, really, just the total disregard. They're not even trying to hide it. This is total disregard for the bodies and the minds and the spirits of these rail workers who bring it every single day. We know that rail workers have died on the job. They're exhausted. We've seen and heard stories about folks not seeing their families, but yet they were not worthy. They were not worthy of even 7 lousy sick days, even though the union was asking for much more. And every single worker in this country deserves to know that they will have sick time if they themselves are sick, or if a family member gets sick, God forbid. But they don't have it. This president failed these workers. And trust me, it's happening to these workers, but it has a tremendous ripple effect on all workers. Let's put up this tweet from Jordan Charlton. Biden's blocking of railroad workers' strike shows Dems' sick neoliberal view of the economy, protecting consumerism, corporations, and capitalism while disregarding the labor that produces all of it, the workers. And Jordan, that was exactly what you were just saying, Jordan, about why this is happening. So do not be confused. Now, you can be in love with some of these politicians. You can like some of these politicians. Hell, I like some of them myself, but not so much so that you don't point out when these people are wrong. And they are wrong 365 days of the year on this particular issue, to throw the rail workers under the train, because that's exactly what they did. Let's look at what Ben had to say here on Twitter. For the record, Joe Biden has known for months that rail workers may not like the deal he championed. And why should rail workers accept a single paid sick day when rail executives are raking in millions of dollars? Why, oh why, oh why? That is a legitimate question. It is called disregard and disdain for the very people that help them make these record profits. It is called they do not give a damn. There is no gray here. This is very clear what happened to these rail workers. And the workers are upset, and rightfully so. They should be upset. Let's put up another tweet by Jordan. Railroad Workers United press release slams at Joe Biden. The quote, most labor-friendly president has opted sides with big business and called for a thwarting of rail workers' right to strike. That is exactly what the president called for. And Congress went along with him in this effort. Don't forget, Congress is a co-equal branch of government. They did not have to go along with the president, but like sheep's led to the slaughter, that is exactly what they did. And Kim Kelly really goes to the heart of the whole matter. Look at her tweet, pro-labor, until workers actually try to take action against the oligarchs who have bled them dry for decades. Instead of calling on greedy railroad bosses to accept the workers' modest demands, the administration has sold rail workers out at every turn. Cowardly and shameful. Jordan.
Yeah, there's no excuse that again, modest demand for a few days or a week of paid sick time was denied. This is something that most cushy office jobs have. It's a pretty standard thing around the developed world. And for jobs that are so essential to our economy, to our supply chain, to our national infrastructure, that they don't have those same benefits is ludicrous. And it's just to help these companies' bottom line. There's no justification for why they shouldn't have paid sick time for these essential jobs. It's only so these companies can make more money. That's it. This is purely a greed move. So the fact that, again, the pro-labor Biden presidency and the like progressives in Congress who went along with this plan, it really makes you wonder who they're ultimately working for. And there's a lot of people who like to slap CPC, Congressional Progressive Caucus, that label onto them when they take office or when they're in office. But there's few of them who actually vote their principles. And I'm thankful for people like Sanders who obviously did not support this, because he saw right through it. He saw what was happening here. So I appreciate people like Sanders in these moments.
No, he absolutely did. And my stunt double had something to say about this, as she always does on Twitter, because all of this could have been avoided. The proper way to avoid a rail strike would be to call out these greedy rail barons for not meeting the demands of these workers. 1 day of sick leave per year is shameful, inhumane, and shows no dignity to workers. It's not something to celebrate. So it's really simple. This is not complicated. And the fact that you have a president and a Congress that wants to make this more complicated than what it really is, it is simple. Let me explain it to you like you're a 5-year-old. Give the workers what they want. Let me explain it to you like you're a 3-year-old. Give the workers what they want, because what they are asking for is reasonable. It is more than reasonable. And as Jordan laid out earlier, they were even willing to negotiate down, even though the 14 or 15 days they were asking for was perfectly fine. Human beings need time off. They are not machines. They are not cogs in a wheel. They are very much essential, and they should be treated that way, but they were slapped in the face. They were absolutely betrayed. And you know what? The irony to all of this is that the very senators that voted against giving rail workers 7 days of sick leave, they benefit greatly from the largesse of the American people. Yet they don't want for other people, for other people's mamas and daddies, other people's grandmamas and big papas, other people's aunts and uncles and cousins, other people's family members and communities. They don't want for them what they themselves have. Shame on them, really. My stunt double had this to say: senators who have unlimited sick days and make $174,000 off the taxpayers per year had the nerve, the pure unadulterated gall to vote against giving rail workers 7 days of sick time. Yeah, they did. And they did just that, all for the owner donors. More Perfect Union lays out in that vote in the Senate, who in fact voted 80-15 to force a contract on rail workers. And here are the senators who voted no. And as you can see by the list, certainly Senator Sanders is in that list, Senator Warren is in that list. Hell, you even see some Republicans in that list. When Rubio and Rick Scott out the progressives, come on now. You know the world is upside down, but this was the senators that voted against it. And it's Dems and Republicans standing strong on at least that part of it. The Senate voted 80-15 to force a contract on rail workers. I want to be very clear for the viewers. And here are the senators who voted no on forcing that contract vote. Very bipartisan. And then ultimately, when the rubber had to meet the road, there were 5 Democrats in the Senate that had the courage to affirm the rail workers' right to strike. And they are, here they are: Warren, Sanders, Hickenlooper, Gillibrand, and Merkley. Everyone else, and I mean everyone else in that Senate, voted against the workers. Jordan?
Look, we're both from Ohio. So where's Sherrod Brown?
Oh yeah,
Sherrod
who's
Brown
always
loves to
talking
pat
about the
himself.
dignity of work. I'm sorry, Jordan, I had to throw that in because that was his line, the dignity of work.
Yeah, he loves to pat himself on the back as a pro-union guy. Come on, man, this is your moment. This is a layup. I'm tired of people, siding with unions and siding with workers when it's convenient or a nice political backdrop when they're running for office or running for re-election. But in moments like this, you see who they truly are. This is a total layup. I mean, he whiffed. If we're gonna keep going with the basketball analogies, I guess this is an airball for Sherrod Brown. Just deeply disappointing, and yeah, I guess
Very
reflective
much so,
of the problems in Congress and who they serve at large.
Well, you were kind calling it an airball, but truly, like none of these people should talk about how they stand up for workers ever again. They have lost the right to do that, and I hope the House of Labor across the board never forget what just happened to the rail workers. And this is really history repeating itself. Let's take a look at what Professor Harvey Kaye tweeted a couple of days ago. I know they are quite different still. 1981, former Union President Ronald Reagan versus the air traffic controllers. And in 2022, pro-union Joe Biden versus railway workers. Absolutely history repeating itself. And the exploitation of labor, of the Labor Management Reporting and Disclosure Act of 1959. Let's take a look at this. Union busters became stronger after the law was enacted. Through a loophole, there's always a damn loophole, isn't it? Union busting consultancies were able to continue assisting employers in a different, more subtle approach to undermine the fabric of workers' rights. These consultancies and law firms take advantage of weak labor laws and ineffective regulatory agencies to bust unions right and left instead of having employers ask the governor to call out the National Guard. That is Kim Phillips Fain writes this in Mother Jones. That is the absolute truth. And the next point that we want to make here, from 1983 to 2020, union membership rates in the private sector fell from 16.2% to 6.3%, even though for more than 80 years, public support of unions has never dropped below 48%. You know why we're losing unions in the private sector? Because these corporatists are putting the hammer and the screws to workers. They don't want them to be unionized so that they can collectively bargain together, because there's strength in that kind of solidarity. And the federal government is complicit in assisting these folks to put the hammer on workers. Now, they are coming for rail workers. It's obviously, they already came for them at an egregious level. And I want you to watch a speech that I made on the floor of the Ohio Senate in 2011, which resonates to this day. It was over Senate Bill 5. Jordan, I'm sure that you remember Senate Bill 5 when the Republicans in the legislature in Ohio were coming after workers. They kept out the firefighters and the police officers because they didn't want that smoke. But thank God the firefighters and the police officers said, it doesn't matter that you don't have us in this bill. We are gonna stand in solidarity with our sisters and brothers and our family and friends who are named in this bill. But this is what I stood up on the floor of the Senate and said in 2011.
They came for teachers, and I did not speak out because I was not a teacher. And then they came for nurses, and I did not speak out because I was not a nurse. And then they came for our administrative assistants, our bus drivers, our child care workers, our computer operators, our correction officers, our custodial workers, our customer service assistants, our electricians, our equipment operators, our food service workers. They came for them, but I was not any of those. And I did not speak, but when they came for me, there was no one left. We cannot go back, and we won't go back. Dr. King said that the arc of moral justice is long, but it bends towards justice.
Wow, the arc of the moral universe. I was on the road there. is long, but it bends towards justice. That was a moment. And thank God in the state of Ohio, we have power of referendum because the Republicans had super majorities in both chambers. Jordan, as you remember, they passed that bill, but we, the collective we, and that is the House of Labor, was able, and people who support the House of Labor were able to go out and collect signatures and put it on the ballot. And the people of the great state of Ohio voted overwhelmingly to overturn the decision of the legislature. And that happened in households that were not unionized, because what we were able to help people to understand in the state of Ohio, that they coming for those workers and they coming for you next. And that is the situation right now with what just happened to the rail workers. Now, Jordan just explained to us today, to each and every one of us, that President Joe Biden has the power right now through executive order to turn all of this around. It shouldn't have even happened in the first place. So folks should be mad as heaven and hell. Pick your place. But we should be mad. Our hair should be on fire over what happened to those workers, because it's only a matter of time before they come for the rest of us. This is a stain and a blemish on this country, on that Congress, and on this presidency. We'll be back after this with more Unbossed.
Welcome to Indisputable. I'm your host, Dr. Rashad Richard. We got a lot happening today. But what do we do on this show? We tell the truth. You know why we tell the truth? Because the truth is simply indisputable.
Rashad, great to be here. Congratulations on the new show. And I gotta let everybody know that Rashad and I go way back.
Here's the pattern that we see in all of these Karen stories. They think they own stuff they do not own. Now, where does that come from? I don't know, maybe slavery. Maybe they think they should still own black people.
This is what happens when Karens weaponize the police.
When you're used to privilege, equality seems like oppression.
It hits you in a certain way when someone is holding you against your will, treating you like you're a criminal and you're an innocent person. This is something that black people face no matter where they are.
A stronger black economy lends itself to a stronger, greater economy. Don't think it's exclusive of you, it's inclusive of you.
What's your beef with critical race theory?
It adds more fuel to the fire of the racist tendencies that we already have.
We have a generation of problem solvers that can remedy the problem if they are properly taught what the problem is.
You know who created redlining in this country? It was a white liberal.
I don't give a damn who created it. If it's a racist policy, Shelley, here's what I don't know. I don't know. See, there you go filibustering, brother. You're scared of this truth, but you're gonna get it though.
Climate is changing fundamentally, extremely, and non-linearly. It's becoming worse now. It's not when the levees burst that is the problem. It's in the anticipation of that.
So I hope every human being is safe. And by human beings, I do not include multinational corporations, especially the ones that started climate change in the first place.
What we're currently doing right now in cutting emissions is clearly not enough. There will be ramifications to what Trump is doing. I don't want people to suffer, but I feel like there's gonna be a lot of suffering because we have an imbecile as our leader.
Welcome back to this Friday edition of Unbossed. Yeah, we are on fire. Let's get to my favorite part of the show. As you all know, our viewer comments. So TYT members, Connor says, this raw deal is why I'm calling Build Back Better Biden, big business Biden. You better say that, Connor. Let me just repeat that one more time. Connor says, this raw deal is why I'm calling Build Back Better Biden, big business Biden. You better say that, Connor. And on Twitch, Marshall says, get it, Nina, with exclamation points and capitalization of my first name. Thank you so much, Marshall. And on YouTube, Super Chat, Law Dragon says, I love Jordan's face. Jordan, that is beautiful.
That's nice.
That is very nice. I love Jordan's face. So simple and so beautiful. And Donald says, I'm rooting for the workforce to do a wildcat strike with or without the lawmakers. I heard that, Donald. Look, the people of this nation gonna have to stand up one way or another, or we're gonna continue to be walked over in that way. Thank you all, each and every one of you, for your comments. Thank you for your support of Unbossed and the TYT network. We could not do what we do without you. And speaking of doing, please, if you can, go to tyt.com/relief, tyt.com/relief. We are still doing what we can to help our sisters and brothers, our family and friends in Jackson, Mississippi. Water is life. And do not forget Brittany Griner and her family. Send your thoughts, your prayers, your well wishes. There are people working behind the scenes, absolutely, to try to bring her home. On Unbossed, we mention her every single day. You can hashtag, if you are on social media, we are BG. And that is a request that was made months ago by her family. We continue to keep them lifted. Herschel Walker. The Georgia runoff is right around the corner. As a matter of fact, it's next Tuesday. But Herschel Walker doesn't have a lot to say. Watch this.
Why is it so nasty in Georgia? They're afraid of Herschel Walker. He transforms the Republican Party. It's not just about this election, it's about the future of the party. John James, Tim Scott, Herschel Walker, all the conservative women who are becoming Republicans are changing the face of the party. So folks, if you want the Republican Party to grow and thrive, have Herschel's back. They tried to ruin his life because they're afraid of people like Herschel. So go to teamherschel.com, not just to win this election, but change the future of the Republican Party. Make conservatism look like America. Teamherschel.com now.
If you're in Georgia, it's going to be close. Get out and vote. It's all about turnout as of now.
Get out.
All right, Lindsay, thank you. And Herschel, great to see you. Now, a terrifying story tonight.
Now, he thanked Herschel, but I didn't hear Herschel Walker say anything. What you just watched was Lindsey Graham playing puppeteer with Herschel Walker sitting right by his side. And this is not the first time that this happened. We've seen it over and over, sometimes with Ted Cruz as well. So we're putting up those graphics where Herschel Walker is just being led by these guys and really is not saying much of anything. This is the GOP's goal. Keep Herschel Walker quiet, because while Walker is a grown man, no doubt about it, he doesn't tend to say the things in the way that they would like them to be said. Herschel Walker has such an issue with what he says that his team banned journalists from coming within 20 feet of him. That is coming from Insider. And here are some examples of some of the things Walker has let slip. I live in Texas. Herschel Walker's speech adds to Georgia Senate runoff problem. Oops. I'm not even running in the state I live in. Or how about this? Herschel Walker veered off in a campaign speech to rant about werewolves killing vampires. Now, we are so far removed from Halloween. I don't understand what the connection was there. Maybe Herschel understands it, needs to explain it to us. And recently, President Barack Obama called this out. Watch this.
Every day he comes up with something. Every day. Since the last time I was here, Mr. Walker has been talking about issues that are of great importance to the people of Georgia. Like whether it's better to be a vampire or a werewolf. Now, listen, this would be funny if he weren't running for Senate.
President Obama is so right. Personally, Jordan, and I want to know what you pick. I'm picking vampire, just for the record.
Yeah, I guess I'm team vampire as well. Werewolf seems like it would be slightly more inconvenient if you change during certain moon cycles. It might affect my schedule.
I heard that. Jordan is all about the schedule. I'm with you on that. And President Obama made a very important point, though, in a very hilarious or satirical way. But yeah, it would be funny if the man was not running to be a US Senator from the great state of Georgia. And things aren't looking great for the runoff for this candidate, not at all. Let's take a look at this headline. Amid GOP worries, Herschel Walker's campaign desperately pleads for cash. With control of the Senate no longer in play, the Georgia Republican is having a tough time convincing voters they need him. Now, Walker's campaign is begging donors for money. And for reference, let's put this up. Warnock and the Democratic groups backing him have spent and committed a combined $92 million since the November election, compared with $45 million that Walker and his Republican allies have ponied up. So we know that we are in a runoff in Georgia. I don't know, George, just even looking at those numbers, even though I am certainly happy that Reverend Warnock is in the lead in the fundraising, what it takes to run a race, especially on the federal level, is really obscene these days.
Absolutely, that's a huge haul for Warnock's team, but also grassroots groups on the ground have had a really difficult time raising money. It's been a really, really tough fundraising cycle for small, independent grassroots organizations in the state of Georgia who do the field work to get out the vote. And what has changed is Warnock and Ossoff won largely in 2020 because of mail-in voting in a runoff. Well, that's been severely restricted, if not totally banned for this runoff cycle. They made that change in between then and now, the Georgia state legislature. So they're not gonna have the same ease of access to mail-in ballots for this runoff. You could do early voting, but that was limited, a lot of challenges around that. It's also going to rain and storm potentially pretty severely in Atlanta on Tuesday. So these are things that you can't really control right now, but every vote absolutely matters. But what this shows is on Fox and how they're limiting media access is deep down Republicans know Herschel Walker is not the guy for this job. They know he's a loose cannon. They know he's not qualified for the job. He's just a conduit. He's a vehicle for them because they want one more seat and they want to severely restrict Democrats' ability to do things in Congress, specifically in committees. And that's the change here. It's not going to change complete control of the Senate. It's going to change the committee structure. So every vote absolutely matters. I hope people who know friends in Georgia or family in Georgia or live in Georgia get out to vote. Today's the last day of early voting, so get out there on Tuesday if you can't. Every single vote matters.
It absolutely does. Every election cycle, it matters. So please get out there to vote. And actually, Jordan, your point, they don't even care about their own constituents, because if they did care about this is just a pure unadulterated power grab, because if they cared about even their Republican constituents, there's no way in the world that they would want Herschel Walker to be in the Senate representing them, but they don't care about that. And we can think of better ways to spend $92 million rather than a campaign, but that's a whole other story. Almost 80 million is spent on TV ads for Georgia's 4-week Senate runoff. This is sick. We need campaign finance reform in this country. So this is a much bigger issue than what is happening in Georgia. Now for some good news, finally, it has been an extraordinarily heavy week for us here at Unbossed and for all of you. But Denver is removing lead water pipes. Beautiful thing. Clean water is fundamental, it's necessary. It's not anything we as human beings can bargain with. We need clean water, clean air, clean food. Those three things go together. And Denver is making progress towards clean water. Check out this headline. Denver gets go ahead from EPA after progress on lead pipes. And the EPA on Thursday approved a nearly $700 million plan to remove all lead pipes in the Denver region. Hello, somebody. Hopefully that plan is coming to a neighborhood near you. And as you may have guessed, lead water lines are a major source of lead poisoning. The metal causes brain damage, and the agency says no amount is safe for children's bodies at all. Let us not forget what happened to the children of Flint. Adults were involved too, but children in particular, Flint certainly was the modern day canary in the coal mine. Now, Denver's water had high levels of lead a decade ago, and therefore local officials promised in 2020 to replace between 64,000 86,000 and 84,000 lead pipes in 15 years, a comparatively fast pace. To make sure people aren't getting lead poisoning in the meantime, they also promised to hand out lead removing filters to residents. So far, the utility has dug up 15,000 lead pipes. Y'all better go head on. Now, officials also said they are targeting lead pipe replacements near schools and daycare centers. Good on you. Let's start with those babies. Because of the swift action, the city's latest tests show that lead levels have now dropped below federal limits. Now you see what can happen when policymakers get together with a sense of urgency and do the right thing for their people. But don't let it be forgotten that across the country, people are still without proper clean water and people are still paying the price for poor infrastructure. Jordan, your thoughts?
This is one of those stories where when you hear it, your initial reaction is always, oh, that's good. And then you think about it for a second and it's like, why did this not happen years ago? We have known for years that lead is damaging and hazardous to our health. And I can never wrap my head around any of these stories. It's like, yes, this is good. Why is it only just happening now? I'm like, you gotta balance it. Sure, there's a silver lining, but like I feel bad for people who have been subject to this for years, who might develop health consequences later down the line. I really wish we had a government, top down, federal, state, local, that put the interests of people first. That the nanosecond they learn there's something in their society, there's something in their city or in their community that is hazardous, that is bad, that is dangerous, that doesn't help and put people first, they fix it and they work to fix it. We just don't have that. We have a system that waits until there's enough outrage, there's enough media coverage, and potentially there's enough deaths that maybe then they'll start a commission to look into it and offer proposals, and they're bound by red tape and bureaucratic quagmires. That's a system we have. I would love a more efficient, people-powered system. So I'm always appreciative of people like you, Senator Turner, who have fought their entire political career to create that system and create that change. And the people that you and others have inspired to get involved at the local level, at the state level, at the federal level, who have that same outlook and have that same worldview and view of our political system, or an ideal political system, is what's going to lead to this type of change later on.
Oh, thank you for that, Jordan. And I too, as we talk about this good news, I feel the same way that you do, which is, Jesus, why did it take so long? And you're correct. A lot of folks, sometimes we don't remember that people have already sacrificed. The children who were poisoned in Flint, that's gonna be with them for the rest of their lives. The generations who had to suffer through lead poisoning, that is with them into adulthood, all the way till death. And so it is incumbent upon us to make sure that we are fighting these types of fights. These are righteous fights right away. And so Flint, yeah, let's go ahead and put Flint back up. You were right. Flint is still shaken by its water crisis, and residents are experiencing long-term mental health issues. This is serious, lifelong consequences for people. And in Jackson, Mississippi, here's the latest update. Judge okays Fed's bid to step in and manage Jackson, Mississippi's struggling water system. Glad it's happening, late as hell. My God. Oh, we got to get some more like true public servants in office. Can we, on all levels, as Jordan laid out? We'll be right back after this.
Indisputable has been named the fastest growing news TV show in the United States of America, compared to all shows on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and roughly 30 others. What do we do on this show? We tell the truth. You know why we tell the truth? Because the truth is simply indisputable. Donald Trump radicalized citizens. He's the chief terrorist. Republicans still want you to think that critical race theory is the greatest evil that can happen in K through 12 education. It's not even taught. I guarantee you this, David. If he would have taken a knee during the national anthem to bring awareness to the need for more money for cancer research in America, he would not have had that response. It was the fact that he took a knee for black folk and brown folk. You rather pick the voters because you're scared of the voters picking the politicians. It frightens you. But we coming. When you are in a privileged position, equality looks like oppression to you. The Karenicity runs deep in this one. We provide a mirror A mirror for reflection and a mirror for correction.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Let's put up the graphic of this Karen in peak performance. Boom. They want anarchy so they can start creating their own rules.
Can you share with me some examples?
When they were running around during the terrorist attack on January 6th saying, hang Mike Pence. So those are the people I'm talking about. That's a problem, correct? You work for Mike Pence, stand up for the guy. Do not allow the ideology of politics to evaporate the humanity that still exists inside of you. They don't stop, I don't stop. Racism won't stop, I won't stop. Systemic bias won't stop, so I won't stop. People still need health care, so I won't stop. People still need criminal justice systems reformed in this country, so I won't stop. And you won't stop either.
Hello, beloveds. I have a big announcement. I'm launching a new daily 1-hour show with the Young Turks called Unbossed with Nina Turner, starting October 17th. We are going to be taking on corruption in all of its forms, whether it's big money, big pharma, the injustice system, the establishment of both parties. All that we love is on the line. They keep coming for the people, not serving the people. Now we're coming for them. Anytime anyone, anywhere tries to take power from the people, that is where we will be together on Unbossed. And not only are we gonna take on these people, we're also gonna have a little joy while we fight. What is life without having some joy? The channel's already up, so go subscribe now, yes, right now, at youtube.com/unbossed, TYT.
Field goal here.
It's time to switch to beer.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Do your best.
He's a little like...
Let's go!
Oh. Okay.
No one's happy now.
Give him another try.
Oh! Wow.
This is the weirdest game.
We've been around for about 20 years and we have about 20 billion views. Am I proud of that? Hell yeah, I am. We put out 20 billion messages in a bottle. Have we helped to move now 2 generations, millennials and Gen Z, to become progressive? Yes, those numbers are real. We moved generations. Were we the only ones? Of course not. But we have been the largest online news show for now decades.
Welcome back. On to viewer comments. Prince Electro, hey Prince Electro, glad to have you back today. One of our TYT members says, I love when I see a speech that Nina's made. It puts a fire in my spirit. Nina 2024 with hearts. Oh, Prince Electro, thank you so much for that. And on Twitch, Galfar says, the terrifying story is that Lindsay is still in the Senate and Herschel could be. Galfar, you make a very good point there. And then on YouTube Super Chat, Lab Knight says, Nina and Jordan, dynamic duo. We received that, don't we, Jordan? I do.
That's right. I love that.
I love that too. Thank you all so much for your comments, for viewing. Please share Unbossed with your friends and your frenemies. Tell them this is something they do not want to miss. 1 o'clock on PST time and 4 o'clock on Eastern Standard Time. Or you can catch us on YouTube after, but definitely share the show with your friends and your frenemies in this case. I need you to watch this.
A non-basketball question. Did you get a chance to meet with the royal family? And if not, how was it like having them there in the building?
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph?
The Prince and Princess of Wales.
Oh, no, I did not. I'm only familiar with one royal family. I don't know too much about that one.
I know you guys have played in front of a lot of celebrities, but what was it like to compete in front of royalty tonight? The Prince and Princess of Wales were in the building.
It was just a regular game to me.
Woo! Jordan, we done got us 2 good laughs today. One was the werewolf and Dracula. And this one right here, when he said who Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Oh my God, this is how people should, like, just make it plain. Basically saying, who are they? Like, we here trying to play basketball and you asking us these asinine questions. Now, as an educator, I always told my students there is no such thing as a stupid question. I'm trying to hold on to that. But I am so glad that that particular reporter was just set all the way straight. So that was the Boston Celtics head coach, Joe Mazzulla, and player Jaylen Brown, rightfully knocking the royal family's ego down a peg. In other words, who cares that they're in the building? They not more important than Big Mama or Big Papa being in the building. Why are you asking me these questions? This was after William and Kate Middleton watched the Celtics on Wednesday night as part of their visit to Boston. But much like it has been for years now, controversy was behind the Royals. Lots of it. I want you to check out this headline. Buckingham Palace household members resigned amid race comments. So what was said? I'm so glad that you asked. Here's the controversy detailed by, here's the details. The chief executive of Sister Space, a London-based refugee, which provides support for women of Africa and Caribbean heritage. And so this is the tweet that was there. Mixed feelings about yesterday's visit to Buckingham Palace. 10 minutes after arriving, a family member of staff, Lady SH, approached me, moved my hair. Oh Lord. Okay, I'm having a moment, Jordan. Can't even finish reading. Moved my hair to see my name badge. The controversy below took place. The rest of the event is a blur. All right, first of all, you don't put your hands on nobody's hair. That's the first thing. You just don't do that. But here we are. So Jordan, two things here we're gonna talk about. One is the response to the question about the Royals being in the building at the game, and then the second one about the racialized gestures that happened at Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, this was really funny to watch play out over the past couple of days because people in Somerville, just Harvard is right nearby and just north of Boston. And people throughout the city were really frustrated by their trip there because it like blocked traffic and it created crowds and just like made everyone's day worse. And it's also kind of like, of all cities to go to, one that was like really central in the American Revolution and throwing off like British control of the United States. So it was funny to see people's like over the top reactions. Also, like, why would Jaylen Brown care? Like, they're focused on winning the East. Like, they're focused on just maybe getting stronger so they can finally beat Cleveland this year. Like, we'll see. Like, good luck. It's been fun.
Okay, Jordan, don't mess around now. Don't do it.
Yeah, but also on the Buckingham Palace and royal family at large thing, like that family just sucks. Like there's been stories and tons of documentation showing they're just like racist colonialists, like just a relic of the past, a waste of money. Like the whole thing is a charade and just a really wasteful one at that. And I feel really bad for the woman who had to deal with that there, who had every right to be there. She wanted to be there. She had a reason to be there. The way that she was treated like that is just repugnant. So the whole family just please go away. I think like the other two who left, I don't follow them that closely. I'm not like a royal authority, but the two that like left because the family was so racist to I think her name was Megan. Like that's just good for them. Get out of it. Carve out your own path. I love that for them. But like everyone else sucks.
Yeah, big time, and it shows all the time. And the executive of Sister Space, and we're gonna put up the lengthy part of what she put up, and that was Ungal Z. This was her experience. So the lady SH, where are you from? Me, Sister Space. Now this is the organization that she represents. SH, no, where do you come from? Me, we're based in Hackney. SH, no, what part of Africa are you from? Okay, I got to pause. Can I just pause for just 1 minute? I need to collect myself real quick. Just real quick, I'm gonna collect myself. Okay, we're gonna go back. Our team, I'm ready. I'm ready to carry on. Me, I don't know. They didn't leave any records. SH, well, you must know where you're from. I spent time in France. Where are you from? Me, here, UK, SH, no. But what nationality are you? Now, the fact that she had to endure that kind of anti-black racist nonsense, not 10 years ago, just like right now. It makes no sense whatsoever, but that is. And you're probably wondering who the SH is in the conversation. So let's go ahead and put this up because we want you to know who that is. Britain's Press Association and a number of other media outlets in Britain identified the woman who made the remarks as Lady Susan Huxley, who served as Queen Elizabeth II's lady-in-waiting for more than 60 years. She is also a godmother to the Prince of Wales. That is who that is. Yep, godmother of Prince William himself. And speaking of William, a little more on his visit to Boston. Put up this headline: Black Reverend speaks of legacy of colonialism at opening of William and Kate's Earthshot event. Reverend White Hammond asked audience members to consider the legacy of colonialism at a Boston event ahead of Prince William taking the stage. You better go ahead on, Reverend, said it. And here is more of what Reverend White Hammond said about the impact of colonialism. The ways it has impacted people across the world and its deep connection to the degradation of land and our planet that we are all seeking to reverse. The stories lost, the species made extinct, but also the persistence of people in the face of oppression and fundamental dignity of all of our relations. Rev, you laid that. Yeah, you wasn't about to let them get off with this. And here are just some of the ways in which the royal family has benefited from colonialism, because I know that you all were on the edge of your seat wanting to know, how did they benefit? Funding slavery voyages, the Commonwealth. Remember, the sun never set on the British Empire. Do y'all remember that? The sun never set on the British Empire. The king, queen is head of state, property, land, goods, our great imperial family. And you still have generations still benefiting from that system that really destroyed other people. So kudos to the coach and to Brown for reminding us that these aren't royal people. In fact, they're quite the opposite. Building an empire on the theft of other people's cultures across the globe does not make you royal. Man, that was really good. So today we're going to do backbone, and our backbone for today is coming from the urban poet himself, Tupac Shakur. And this is what he said. And we all know he was killed way too long in life. He was about 25 years old when he was shot. Some people would say assassinated. And he is known as one of the greatest rappers in the world, but he was so much more than that. He was a thought leader in many ways. I often quoted him on the floor of the Senate along with the framers of this country and some other folks. And Jordan, I made their heads spin when I would say, and according to the urban poet Tupac Shakur, baby, and I would get to quoting Tupac to further put emphasis on the issues that I wanted to illuminate, I should say, on the floor of the Ohio Senate. But this young man was brilliant, definitely complicated as all human beings are, but definitely brilliant. And here is the quote: "Death is not the greatest loss in life. The greatest loss is what dies inside while still alive. Never surrender." And the 3 points that I pulled from what Pac had to say is the following. While there is certainly a sense of loss when someone dies or transitions from this plane of existence, One's physical absence is not the greatest loss. Number 2, living an unfulfilled life is the greatest tragedy. It extinguishes your life force, your passion, your purpose. You have to work on that thing, whatever it is for you, while you are alive. And number 3, finally, Pac said, never surrender. Don't give up, don't give in, don't give out. Life is certainly hard at times, but you can overcome. Harness the light inside you and your insight in you. Sometimes the hard times come to make you stronger when it is time for you to travel up that mountain. You are the greatest thing. Yeah, you are. Jordan?
Yeah, that's good advice and something that people should think about and contemplate on. Because yeah, it also like I think it informs and highlights where people should think about what brings value into their life as well. And for me, it's material goods are just never really what makes someone happy. It's like experiences, what you do with your time that like makes the world a better place. I think that's something to focus on. And without I've seen it in my own life, I've seen it in other people's lives. When you have these moments of like you feel listless, you feel like you're not being productive, and not just to like check the box, work a 9 to 5. But just like, what am I doing that actually matters? It's the question I'm constantly asking myself, and I'm sure you and others are as well. Just
yeah,
that's where you really find happiness, and death isn't what
No,
like I don't. He says it much better than me.
No, he laid it out. The greatest loss is what dies inside while you're still alive. Never surrender. Let's take the great urban poet Tupac's advice and never surrender. Live your life to the fullest. You are great and you are unique. No matter how this world tries to wear you down, we want you to know that here on Unbossed. Well, that is our time for today. You know exactly what I want you to do. I want you to keep the faith, but along with that faith, I want you to keep the fight. Until next time, take great care.